Well, I hope you all enjoyed your half term. You had better weather than we did. We went away to Torquay last week and we had lots of rain. So hopefully you've enjoyed this week and half term and being able to do a few different things. But now we're carrying on with the fruit of the Spirit. We've been looking through them, looking at love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness. And today we're looking at the next part of the fruit of the Spirit, the next thing on the list, which is the word faithfulness. It might be a little bit easier than goodness. Faithfulness. Being faithful and growing in this fruit of faithfulness. Now, all of these things are things that we work at over time, things we try to get better at by choosing to live by the fruit of the Spirit. But showing this fruit of faithfulness isn't always easy, especially when life can get a bit difficult. But the story that you're going to be looking at on Sunday morning, the Sunday morning story the children will be looking at about the fruit of faithfulness, gives us a story about a time when people were caught in a storm. We thought about that a few weeks ago when looking at peace. But Jesus' disciples were caught in a storm at this point. And we're going to hear just a little snapshot of that story about how especially one of the disciples, Peter, had to show faithfulness. Imagine the drama, the excitement and the tension there must have been at that point when something amazing like that happens. Perhaps you've been somewhere where something really amazing is happening and Peter now sees Jesus coming towards him and he walks on the water. But in that moment he loses his faithfulness. He sees the wind and the waves around him and he realises what he's doing. He shouldn't be able to do this. And he looks at what's going on around instead of looking at Jesus. That moment where he struggles with this thing, faithfulness. But we all struggle with faithfulness. We can find it difficult to trust some things. We can find it difficult to wonder, is this the right thing? Are things going to work out? Should I keep trusting in this? Whether it's being faithful in our Christian walk or faithful and loyal to our friends or whatever it might be. Sometimes it can be hard to grow at this fruit of faithfulness. Here's an apple. Now, if the fruit of the Spirit was a real fruit, each week we've looked at a different piece of fruit. And this one is an apple this week for faithfulness. Now, there's a saying that when an apple falls from the tree, it doesn't fall far. Faithfulness, staying close, keeping our trust in things. Just like an apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I like apples. I have one of these every day probably. They're very good for you. So next time you have an apple, do think about faithfulness and showing more faithfulness. But as we keep thinking about these things, this fruit of the Spirit takes time to grow. But why we say the word faithfulness, how can we be more faithful? What does faithfulness mean? Well, as we've had the last few weeks, we're going to hear now from some people about what they think it means to be faithful, what the word faithfulness really means.
constant in duty and faithful.
So yeah, I think faithfulness is being loyal and keeping on doing something, maybe even when you don't want to do it anymore. And that's how God is with us, because he probably gets fed up when we keep making mistakes and letting him down, but he's faithful to us, and he keeps on picking us back up, being loyal and living to us.
Norm and I have been married for 62 years. Part of that marriage is being faithful to each other. So we've been faithful, and faithfulness comes into our everyday life. We want to be faithful to you as a church, and we want to be faithful to God. Thank you.
Faithfulness is supporting the county.
Faithfulness, to me, is being committed to keep the promise you make and staying true to it. For instance, I've stayed true to Mel for 30 years, and that's taken some doing.